Here we go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Industry Sessions. My name is Chris Wade and I am your Music Forward host today. Music Forward is a national nonprofit organization inside the Live Nation family with a mission to transform young lives, inspire careers, and champion a more inclusive music industry. Music Forward provides artist development and career development programs to inspire the next generation. To check out our programs, find more links in our chat. We're excited to bring you another episode of Industry Sessions today, where we connect our communities to the music industry and discuss current trends and career pathways. We have an exciting panel today, and I'm eager to get started, so I want to invite our special industry guest to join me on camera. Please welcome producer Kmack, artist and songwriter Journey, and artist and musician Poison Ivory. Today, we're going to delve into designing the sound. It all starts with the music, and whether it's the lyrics that inspire us to communicate our emotions or the track that makes us want to move, music production is the foundation of the music industry. Today, let's dive into what goes into producing the perfect song. So let's start with our panelists telling us a little bit more about themselves. I'll let you take it away and start with introducing yourself, Kmack. Tell us a little bit about your career and your journey in the industry.
How you guys doing? My name is Kmack. Yes, my journey started probably about 20 plus years ago. It started as a producer. I started off as a DJ, and then I started producing in the early 90s. The game was a little bit different then than it is now. A little bit much, probably I won't say easier, but you're talking about when there was no digital age where it's no internet and it's like, so you didn't have access to people as easy, so I kind of like started there and then started producing music and then started working with Puff Daddy and Missy Elliott early on, and then started recording with Missy, producing her records and stuff for probably about I say started in 2003, started working with her and producing records for her. And then, that's kind of like my early history on before I transitioned over to a music exec.
Awesome, thank you. Journey, can you tell us a little bit about, no pun intended, your journey?
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Journey. I'm 22. I'm an R&B singer. I started singing when I was probably like 5, at least that's what my dad tells me. And, he used to rap. He used to have like a studio in the garage. So I had access to, music and just writing and just being creative, like at a pretty young age. So he kind of got me into this whole industry in general. And he taught me pretty much everything I know now. And so, yeah, I transitioned from NorCal, because I'm from the Bay, to SoCal, LA, for college. I went to college for about 2-3 years, realized it wasn't for me. I really wanted to pursue music full time. So I dropped out and, I signed to K, 1801. And yeah, here I am now, artist.
So welcome. And last but not least, Poison Ivory, tell us about your story and how you got into this place in your career.
Sorry about that. I'm on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying how exciting to be on this panel with such amazing artists and hearing the journey, and that there's an artist named Journey. I mean, like, I just take that as a sign, So, yeah, my journey, my personal journey, started when I was 15 years old. I was in a gospel choir. We were signed to Lou Adler. I believe it was Capitol. I was so young. I started mad early, and then eventually ended up doing gospel that led into R&B. And then I was signed to Ryan Leslie for I want to say 4 years, and then signed to Sony ATV with a publishing deal, wrote for a bunch of really cool artists, got to work with some awesome people, and have put out an EP myself. It got the attention of like Chris Brown. He hit me up, Willow Smith, like just some cool stuff has happened in my life. So I'm super grateful for the journey. And yeah, I would love to share any knowledge, anything at all. I would love to pay it forward.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, let's get right into the questions because I know we don't have a lot of time and we have a lot of things we want you all to share, especially given your expertise. And I'll just start with Journey. What experiences or who have inspired your work creatively?
Well, growing up, I know I'm pretty young still, so a lot of these artists are still, you know, popping now. But yeah, I used to be really inspired by Beyonce. She's like, you know, Queen Bee. She's like everything to me. She was like the first CD I ever had. So like, I don't know, I'm just extremely inspired by her. But as far as like when I write my own music, you know, I pull inspiration from, you know, my personal experiences in relationships or situationships, and also my friends, you know, relationships. They always, you know, we have group chats. They always, you know, are expressing to me like what they're going through. So I just, you know, I'm able to pull inspiration from that.
Cool. Kmack, you made it to the studio. Cool, man.
Made it to the studio, man. Jesus Christ. Nervous for a minute, you know?
All good, all good. So who or what experiences inspire your work?
You know what? What experience inspired my work is pretty much working with new artists, hearing what's going on today in today's music, like such as working with Journey, you know, watching her develop and watching her grow into this superstar, because you know Journey came up when we started working with Journey. You know, she came to us still needing development, but just watching her grow and watching her work ethic and watching her just like want it. And I always used to tell her, like, give her examples of when I was in the studio with Beyonce. And I always give Journey examples of like what hard works look like. And then just to watch her mock those and do the same exact thing, that pushes me. And I'm super proud of her.
Thank you. That's dope.
Oh, that sounds like I got a real good working relationship creatively. That's dope. And Cousin Ivory, what about you? What are your inspirations? Who or what?
I too am inspired by new artists. So I actually really liked Kmack's answer to that. I agree. And I think it's super duper dope. When you can find a team, I think it's also really important to be able to have a team. So, you know, if you can, I would say to the young artists out there, if you can rally people around you that believe in you and that are a part of your team, and you know, aren't nobody that diminishes you. If anybody diminishes you in any way, then they're not a part of your team. So, you know, that person has to respect your journey and they have to love you as a person. If you can bring something like that together, so much magic can happen. That's like an authentic connection and musical relationship. And I think that sometimes God honors that, the universe honors that, and things will come into alignment. It's all about the people you surround yourself with, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with her, yo. It's all about the team, because where I'm at now, you know, building a team and building just to have good people around you is amazing. And it makes the job that much easier.
For sure. And it's good energy. Right. And good energy attracts more good energy. And then you guys are going to win together because there's good energy there. You know, It's all about the people that are around you. So, and then the final thing I was going to say, I get inspired, just like Journey said, from life experiences, for sure. I pull from life experiences. If I'm going through a hard time, I pen to the paper, you know, or pick up an instrument, sing the melody. Even if there's nothing behind your voice, you just sing it. Just keep creating, keep recording yourself, and keep vibing. And it's therapy. Mm-hmm. Creating is therapy. It heals you and it heals other people. And then bam, you're sitting in your purpose.
All great points. I love, you know, how you're talking about this more higher spiritual kind of component of making music.
Sorry, I'm a minister's kid.
No. It's all good. It's super important that people don't just look at it completely as like a commercial thing. Like there is something that is a part of us that
there's an exchange.
Exactly.
There's an exchange.
Exactly.
So
to that point, both of you all, you and Journey both talked about, writing about personal experiences. How much of your personal life do you actually put into your music that you make?
I put all of my personal life into my music. And so, sometimes we can use it in a very clever way. Like there are some people who songwrite and they're very raw. And then there's some people who songwrite and they're very soft, and both are beautiful avenues. You can literally pick from like a smorgasbord of how you want to interpret yourself based off of who you are as an artist. So I don't think there's a right or wrong way, but me personally, with my personal journey, I can be kind of cynical sometimes in my music. I can, I like satires. I like to just kind of make fun of myself sometimes, because like life can be so hard and heavy, and I just kind of want to like lift it up a little bit and just take the burden off, and it's such a cool release for me. So I pull it from heartbreak. I pull it from, struggling with my dreams and the journey and what I've learned. And I love Journey is such a good name, by the way. I have to say, yes, ma'am. I love that name because I keep finding myself saying it, and it just feels so real for me. So it's cool. But yeah, that's my answer to that.
Yeah.
Journey, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I put a lot of personal experience into my music, but I think there is like a beauty in like imagination and just like creating stuff that I feel like, maybe isn't necessarily true to you, but maybe it's like a response to something you heard. Like, for example, sometimes when I have like writer's block, I'll listen to like a male artist, like an R&B artist or whoever, and I'll write a response to like one of their songs. So it's like kind of just like some sort of like imagination going on in there.
Yeah, she's a great songwriter too. Both of these guys, I work with both of these guys. They're great songwriters.
Thanks,
Dope. So when you're cooking up, like what do you do to get in the zone, like to make the music that you are trying to express?
Sometimes what I do is like nowadays I'll go on YouTube and just look and see what's going on, and look at might find an inspirational session that maybe Timbaland did back in the day, or listen to something that Dr. Dre was talking about, or something just to inspire me. And then I might look at like a old music video, or maybe a old artist that I liked, or even go back to some of the music that I made and just like, hey, listen to this. I remember doing this. And then you get in the zone. And yeah, that's kind of like my process is when I'm trying to sit and cook up and start getting creative with my producers and everybody. I like to sit for a minute and watch interviews and watch like other sessions, and then I just dive in.
Yeah. And for the ladies in the panel, what are your ways? Is it the same thing every time as you're creating, or do you have like inspiration that comes from different aspects or different, venues, avenues? Like, how do you get into that zone? What's your process?
Should I take? Okay.
Either whoever wants to take it first.
I would say it's different, but if you find a formula that works for you, that's great. I think that's actually better, because then you can strengthen that formula. So let's say your formula is like, and you could do different things, but let's say your formula is getting behind the mic and freestyling something behind the mic. That's a formula. Then there's also the formula of where you go super from scratch and you sit behind a piano and you figure out what you want to do and sing it from there. There's just so many different ways you can do it. You could do it with an instrument. So, but whatever your formula is, just like lock in with it, because then you have like this superpower with that formula, you know what I mean? And like, you're not all over the place. So you know. But if you are one of those people who can literally pick up and do anything, that's brilliant too. But I do think that it's important, because you know how there's like a saying you say when you're like a master of none. You know what I mean? Like you're like, you know how to do everything, but you're a master of none. You want to, I think it's really important to like find what your formula is and then just work away at it. So I think that that's important.
I agree.
Journey, how about you? Oh, go
ahead. I agree on having like some sort of routine and just kind of, you know, like she said, mastering it. Because like for me, I like to go in the studio, like she said, and just lay down melodies, and, you know, you just come up with the lyrics later. It's like the lyrics are like the last thing I'm worried about. For me, it's like always melodies first. So just, you know, build a routine and then master it. Yeah, I like that.
How do you know you have something? Like, you know, I've been in the writing rooms and the studios, like,
sounds good.
Like,
you know.
You know.
It sounds
what I'm saying is,
know.
can you describe that feeling? Because I know what it feels like, but can you express it, like what it's like? Because I know what it feels like for me, but for you,
it gives you chills. It hit that spot. You know, when a great melody come on, or a dope track, or some great lyrics, it's just a feeling that you get. Like if we're in a room, if something hot, we just look at each other. Everybody just look at each other like, that's that shit.
You know, exactly. You just know.
we make it magic. It gives you chills. And then if you could go back and rewind it and capture that same feeling again, and it gives you the same feeling, then you know what it is, though.
Yeah. Facts.
I think we're all smiling because we kind of know what that feels like.
That's why I like to listen. That's why I like to listen to music sometimes, not all the way super loud, because sometimes when you turn things all the way up, it makes everything sound good, you know. But if you listen to it like on earbuds, or just listen to it real at a lower level, and it still feels good and sound good, you got some shit. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
I totally
hear the mix when it's low. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Do you ever do the test where you play it everywhere?
Yeah.
You're like, let me listen to it on my phone, on the computer, in a car, like.
Yeah.
You got to make sure it sounds right wherever you're playing it. That's
like,
a fact.
I gotta make sure, yeah.
So let me ask you all this question, because everyone kind of works together. Is your process different when you are working collaboratively with someone versus when you're working by yourself, or do you try to keep that same creative process going no matter the situation?
Yeah, I say it's pretty different, because when you're working by yourself, you can work at your own pace. You know, you could sit there, work at your own pace, and you know, you could take your time. And when you're working with someone, you know, you kind of like trying to figure out like who's gonna come up with what part first, you know, or damn, if we're gonna keep that part that she did.
If there's ego in the room, yeah.
Is there ego in the
room? Yeah, for sure. I've had moments like that. It's like a contest. I just like I don't participate in it. I'm like, you can have it. you could take it. No, it's cool when you can just like, when you can get in a room with people who, and the ego is just removed. It's such a flow. It's like, it's the funnest thing ever. It's so fun.
Yeah.
And as professionals, how do you handle the ego? Because everyone that works in the music business runs into ego pretty regularly.
Immediately.
Oh, split sheets?
Immediately.
Yeah. That's the ego side. Split sheets.
Immediately, like we can just figure this out right now.
you'll get into these sessions and somebody changed one word from the to it, and next thing you know, they'd be looking for 10% publishing on your on your record.
So I want to level the playing field for 1 second. For those who are joining us and do not know what split sheets are, those are the documents that determine the percentage of the writing that every person that contributes to the record gets from a publishing standpoint.
Always bring split sheets. Print out a split sheet and have everyone write down the percentage if it's like that. if it's it's not good to be paranoid though. Don't be like one of those people that walk into a session and they're like mad paranoid that everyone's going to screw them over. You're like, just chill, have a fun time. And then at the end of it, be like, hey, did you guys want to do the splits right now or later? Like, I have a split sheet, let's figure it out. If it's like that, if you feel comfortable with these people and that, they got your back, or them a bit, then you don't have to, flex a split sheet, but it is good to have on hand just in case.
It gets weird though.
It does get weird, but like I haven't had too weird of an experience, as long as there has to be someone to play the devil's advocate sometimes. That's why having a team is important.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to be the bad guy. The artist can just be the artist, and then the people can handle it for them. But if you're like me and you are the bad guy, you're like, no, then I'm not the bad guy. But you know what I mean? The devil's advocate. You're my own devil's advocate. But,
So I want to shift the gears a little. Was that the Journey? You want to say something?
Oh, I mean, I can. Yeah.
About I didn't want to talk over you. So
no. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, for me, like, writing with other people has always been like new to me. It's still new to me because like I've always wrote by myself, and like I'm still pretty new to the game, so like I just got signed. So like writing with people is always like, yo, they work so fast and I feel like I'm so slow, and it's a little discouraging. But I feel like every like room that I've been in, I've just been taking, taking everything, you know what I mean? Taking it all in and just using it in the next session. So
yeah, I would even say like the fact that you write by yourself and you go at the pace that you go is great, because it's giving you, the people that write super fast, there's kind of like this thing, like there are people that are seasoned and that's great. And then there are also people who it's just kind of like a competition and who can write a song the fastest. And that's great too. That's a superpower, but it's not always a good thing. Taking your time with music, and like if you freestyle something, you come up with something, you want to double check it and feeling it out and really connecting to it. I feel like that makes music really great too. There's songs where people don't think at all, and those are awesome. But I don't know, my favorite songs are the one that you could tell somebody put some thought into it,
Right.
I mean, well, songs is probably cut down to like a minute and 30 seconds now anyway, from before.
Are we back in like the 1920s? Songs are minutes.
Yes, songs used to be like 3 minutes. That's because everybody's going in there and
songs were short back in the day. So we're getting back
records.
there again.
Yeah, that's a fact. So I want to switch gears for a little bit, because we all have been impacted by COVID-19 and the pandemic. And I want to know, like, specifically for you as creators, how were you impacted by the pandemic from a creative perspective?
Well, creatively, I don't say it didn't really impact me creatively, because I think during that time people got creative because you didn't have shit to do.
Everybody, yeah.
But I think everyone should have been their most creative during the pandemic, because you had a lot of time to sit, a lot of time to read, a lot of time to just really dive into your craft. We wasn't going outside, you wasn't running around nowhere. You had a lot of time to yourself. So I think that for the creators, they should have been more creative, and I think the pandemic helped in a major way for me.
I feel like it just turned everything virtual. So like most sessions were like via FaceTime or Zoom, which is kind of weird for, us, we're not used to that. But I don't think, the only thing I would say about that is it's a little weird when you're trying to like connect with the producer or the whoever it is on the other side. Cause I feel like, creating music is a real intimate thing, and it's hard to, feel that through the screen. So that's the only I think I had with that.
I'd have to agree. It definitely forced me and a lot of people to kind of learn new skills. So during that time, I utilized my time, and I practiced a lot, and I wrote a lot, and cried into my pillow a lot, and and empowered myself too. You know what I mean? Like, but definitely forced everyone to go inward, and made everybody super creative and kind of like really figure out what they wanted to do with their lives. You know, it's like, what am I doing with my life? You're just sitting there. You have to think your thoughts. You can't run from them.
Yeah.
I know, man. I
It was
definitely
a
had
good
some of
thing.
those nights though.
It was a bad thing at the same time.
And I've never asked this question to anyone that works in the music, but anyone have a fear that like this may end it for me? This may actually be the thing that stops me from going where I feel like I'm supposed to go, where I want to go career-wise. Just because no one really knew, you know, last year this time, we didn't know what was going to happen.
I feel like as a new artist, like for me, it was scary because I was like, bro, like I can't even be outside. I can't move like a new artist is moving. You know what I mean? Like going, you know what I mean? So like that, it was scary, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of like, a little tight about that because I think we was just probably doing Journey's deal. And I think in my mind, I was like, damn, like she can't even tour. She can't, you know, touring is like a big part of a new artist, is getting around on the road. And in my mind, I'm like, damn, like how are we gonna break her? You know, it's like we can't do nothing. We can't go to like the radio stations. We can't go to like Spotify. We can't do nothing. So I was just like, it was like bad timing, but you know, it worked out because it's, you know, it lifted a little, and now we outside again. You know?
Yeah. And what kind of changes did you have to make? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You said what kind of changes we had to make?
Yeah, to play within the confines of the situation.
I mean, Journey, you know, we are creative. She was shooting content in her house, you know, and we were just putting it together. We were just putting little small content pieces out online just to keep her name alive and keep the energy going on. You know, she was just doing a bunch of in-house content that worked.
Mm-hmm. Hustling.
Yeah, basically.
Wasn't Ivory, you were about to say something. Somebody was. I don't know who it was, but.
Oh no, I was just gonna.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like the people that used to be popping, like it kind of brought them back a little bit, like with the versus battles and like things like that. Like they kind of like, you know, took advantage of the pandemic. So I thought that was pretty dope, for sure.
And some of them got paid for real for that too. So
it definitely changed the music industry in a way where like if you wanted to be like a super polished artist, you could be that, but all of like the alternative artists and, you know, just like artists like Hiatus Coyote and like who else, Flying Lotus and Thundercat and all of those type of people, Bonobo, like Bonobo was popping before, but all this surge of like untapped into artistry and like these pockets of this demographic of people that listen to that music, it was like a whole new type of access. And even artists that were just like not super polished with like perfect songs were, you know, they've been blowing up lately too. Like there's a whole like surge in like fusion and all this kind of cool music that's coming out. And even like there's a band called Unknown Mortal Orchestra who just got sampled by D-Mile, and you know there was like a little bit of a resurrection for them, and they already were killing it before. But it's just cool. It's really cool because it's like you can be whatever artist you want to be, and you just find your demographic, you find your people, you know, and it's dope. It's like music I'm excited about what's to come. And now that everything's opening back up, like there's so many dope artists and there's a space for it.
Yeah.
So it's
what are you doing to keep that energy high? Like kind of riding the wave of everything coming back to life. Like how are you staying motivated to continue to make good work?
Me personally?
Yes.
I would say just continually creating and then finding cool ways to express that. Like, for me, I thought for myself, okay, I also have an art company and I'm a visual artist. So, and I illustrate, I'm like, let me make my own, music video where I illustrate and, it's animated, you know what I mean? So, I'm putting that with my music, and that was my way of just kind of like stepping into a new space. And because there's people that like cool music and love to watch cartoons and 90s anime and cool stuff like that, like there's a space for you and your demographic, like whatever it is that you're doing, just find your formula, find your people, and just do it and create and put it out there. And if they don't get it in the beginning, then keep fine tuning it until it's right. And that's why having a team is so key. Like, that's great because you're just like knocking out half the battle. You got people to help you get there. That's so important too.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of team, I kind of want to go, I know we're talking very creative right now, but I do want to talk a little business. So Kmack and Journey, you all are in business together as artist and producer. Can you explain at a high level your business relationship in terms of what that looks like, just so that for the singer-songwriters and artists on the call, they can have an understanding of what a production deal looks like and how it's really kind of put together, how you all work together creatively?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Journey signed to us on a it's like a label, you know what I'm saying, per se, production company label. What it is that we're kind of like the mediator between Journey and the distributing company. You know what I'm saying? So she's on our label 1801, and basically we create the records. Even if we go out and find records outside of the production company, we finance the project. We finance the project, and we also help market it and brand it and push it as well with Journey, because she has some amazing ideas as well. She's a creator. She's the young one. She's 21, 22 years old. She have all the ideas, And but yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's the label signed to. We're partners with Republic Records.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty much we create the album, we create the energy, we create the marketing, and that's kind of like what it is.
And
that's
Journey,
exciting, man.
Yeah, I know. First of all, it's dope.
I love that. That's all exciting. Congratulations, guys. Kill it.
Thank you.
I wish you guys all the best, man.
Thank you.
And Journey, can you kind of share your role in that? I mean, clearly you're the artist and the songwriter, but can you just talk a little bit more about like how your role in the dynamic of the production company?
Yeah, I mean, I always just like consider them like family. Like they're, there's just like an extension of me. So, I'm representing them, they're representing me. And like he said, like their job was to pretty much develop me and get me to a point where once I, did get signed to Republic, like, I can take off and they don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's no problem with that. So I just consider them family. We get work done. Yeah. I love it. So
it's definitely family. She's like little sis, and she's developed. She started to understand the game. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, when you're coming in as a new artist, all these different rules and different steps to get there. These new artists don't understand, and it could be a thing where either they listen and stick it out and hear you, or they just go their own way. And Journey stuck it out. She listened. And then we had these conversations later on, and she's like, "Oh, I get it. I understand why this, and this, and that." Because it's a process. Everybody thinks you're just going to get a deal, and next thing you know, you're going to be on billboards and everything. But it's a development stage. You got the studio, then now you got to start developing because you're going to have performances. You're going to have to start developing because you're going to have conversations like these that we're having now.
Yep.
And so it's a process.
Yeah.
Got to know how to work that room.
Exactly. And I think that's the part that a lot of people will say that's been missing in the music business, especially on the label side, because they don't do development anymore. It kind of have just the production company and the management level, right? So like, just so everyone can understand like how long was the development process for you, Journey? Like, was it months? Was it years?
I mean, I still consider myself under development. But, yeah, like I signed to 1801. Shoot, I want to say it was like, what was it, Kay? It was like September, October-ish.
Yeah. It's about a year and some change.
Yeah.
And we closed we closed her deal this year, I think maybe February or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in February. And she's still developing, you know. But the great thing about Journey is she want to develop. She understand it. Like she wanna do it. Like you could tell her something like one time and it gets done. Sometimes two times, but you know, but
I feel like you guys are like the perfect example of like you know, the makings of what an artist needs as far as like being a new artist and finding a team and developing and being patient with one another and communicating and all of those things. Like, you know, that right there is perfect. And I applaud it because it's like, you know, you need that, you know. If I can speak to all the artists out there, like you need to find your people, and you need to make sure that the people that you're doing business with are people that really truly believe in you and are willing to be patient with you and take their time to sit there and develop you. And you can, you know, have a relationship with them where you're, you know, you guys can compromise and meet each other halfway and grow together and create music that you both love, you know. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
It's well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm listening to you. I was gonna say that's great what you're saying about the patient. That's what I always try to preach to these new artists that come in the game. Just have a little patience. Like, you know, you just ready to just be lights, camera, action and just run 1,000 miles and going. But Monty Littman, the chairman of Republic, he said it best. It takes an artist 3 years to be developed. And you know, it takes, and he was right. You know, we signed a young girl named Coyle Ray. We signed her probably about just before we signed Journey, probably 3 years ago, and she's just breaking out right now. And you know, and that was a 3-year process. Not saying that it's like that for everyone, but you know, if you have a little patience, you know, the success comes at them.
Definitely. And there's also, just to like be clear too, to like the people, you know, watching in and listening, there are many faces to success. There's just different paths, and there's also different types of artists. So depending on the type of artist you want to be, you don't have to necessarily go develop like a team that's thinking they're going to pump you out in a year. Sometimes you can be like her was developed as an artist, and you know, her team was, you know, she built with people. She was building. So just continue to build people. Don't put like a time limit on yourself, and continue to grow. And, you know, the best that you can, try to see if, you know, you make a mistake or you feel like you're hitting a wall. Try to see where there's a lesson in it. There's a lesson in everything. You can learn something from every single failure. Your failures are going to teach you a lot. So pay attention to the lessons in them.
And I love that point. Like, what have you learned from rejection or the failures that you've experienced as an artist?
That the people that rejected you, they always come back around later. Every single time. It's like magic. It's literally, you can't even listen to it. I literally had this, I'm not going to say no names, but I literally had somebody in a very important position be so rude to me one time as an artist. And then a couple years later, I came back to them and they were like, they wanted me so fucking bad. So it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you just have to keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
Okay.
you just have to keep going, and you have to keep true. Just keep believing in yourself. It's so cliche to say that, but it really is true, and it really is powerful. And if you just believe in yourself and ground yourself as much as you can in who you are, be open to change and be open to evolution, but, you know, find out what's true for you, what your truth is, and you know, just stick with that, you know, and build with people, build with a team, and be open to, you know, to input and suggestions. Like that's another piece of advice. You know, I used to be like so rigid in what it was that I wanted sometimes that it would almost block opportunity. It would block opportunities. So sometimes you got to stay open too and be flexible, because you never know. But if it feels like you're betraying yourself after you've done it, then you know that it's not right for you. You know what I mean? But just stay open.
What about you, Kmack? I mean, you've been in the game for a long time. I'm sure you've had successes, but also some bumps in the road and things that may have set you back. Like, one, how have those experiences influenced or impacted your creative process? But then also, like, what were some lessons that you got from those experiences?
Well, yeah, I had definitely had a few bumps in the road before. I mean, the lessons that I learned from it is just like, you know, people are going to be people. You know, sometimes it's hard to judge a character if you start working with them, and you know you're working with a person, and next thing you know you get jerked around. But that don't stop me from continuously to just pushing hard and continue to just keep working. You know, it taught me to always do my business first when I'm dealing in this music industry. It's always business with me. And you know, because I got jerked around from songs getting my name not credited on it, and you know, artists that forgot how they got there. Mm-hmm. And but it definitely taught me. It definitely taught me. I just keep going. Like I just keep going. It happens. It was a bump. I'm over it, and I just keep pushing. You know, like it don't stop me, because if it would have stopped me, I would have stopped years ago. You know, I like revenge. It's the sweetest joy. You know.
The sweetest revenge is success. So
exactly, that's what I do. So I'm not gonna let like one little bad apple just spoil something, because they see, and I'm sure the people that did do wrong in the past, they see what it is now.
I got one question. I'm just very curious to know, like, so Poison Ivory, when that person came back to you after they dissed you and were disrespectful, what did you do in response to them?
I actually performed for them, and their jaw was open. They were like this. It was so crazy, because the first time when I performed for them, they were rude, and then the next time I saw them years later, they were like, "Who is this chick?" We transformed. Oh yeah, for sure, and loved me. But the thing is, there's so much constant change. We change as people, our decisions change, our relationships to things change. So just know that wherever somebody's at, try to just be like, it's cool. Because somehow, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, you're going to get taken care of. It's going to be okay. It's going to balance out. So just keep believing in yourself and keep moving forward. And you know, you're going to get to do all this. You're going to get to flex and do all that stuff. And you may not even care at that point. At that point in time, you're not even going to care. It's not even going to matter anymore, because you're going to be, you know, where you are.
I was in a situation where I got, I got someone try to be funny and did some crap. And later on down the line, kissing my butt, came back trying to work with me. I just worked with him again, but it was just like, that's how I killed them though, you know, because they was like, damn, I know this guy ain't gonna work with me because of some nonsense that happened back in the day. But then when he got the call, he was like, oh, yo, I didn't think you wanted to get in the studio. I was like, that's fine, let's get in and work. But I just charged them double.
That's funny.
We could work, but you're gonna pay for what they did to the Coke grocery.
I love it. So we have a few questions from the audience. So I'm gonna pass it over to my colleague Phoebe, who will ask some additional Q&A questions.
Hello, hello. So my name is Phoebe. I am the social producer for Industry Sessions. I have two questions for you all. First of all, when you finally get into a studio and start like getting a song on its feet and it just isn't working and it's not coming together, what are some things that you do? And is there a time when you should kind of give up and put it to the side?
Yeah, don't force it. You know, don't force the magic and the energy that. If you got to keep sitting there fighting and pushing, just put it down. It might just not be the record, or just come back the next day or the next 2 days and see how you feel then. Get one of your co-writers or your co-producers to check it out, and they just don't force it, because when you start forcing music, it just don't feel good.
You can't.
You know,
yeah.
You can't force it.
It's not going to come out. The resistance. There's a quote. It's resistance is persistence.
Yeah.
Meaning there's like literally you're blocking yourself from moving forward. If there's resistance there and if the flow's not coming out, then forgive yourself and just, you got to drop it. Just like you said, drop it and move on. But if you're in a space for like, let's say like you're like a struggling artist, musician, and you booked out a studio and you're like, I just paid like $300 for this. I have X amount of time and I got to knock out something and it's not coming out, then maybe take the pressure off the expectation of having to do a smash and just make something. And maybe that'll help you discover something so that the next time you get in, you can make a smash.
Amazing. Thank you. And then my final question for you all, you've kind of touched on it throughout, is how do you find your demographic as an artist as well as your image in the industry? Is it something you kind of fall into, or do you have to like create it?
Sounds like a poison ivy going.
Okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm hogging all the screen time. I would say both. You can create an alter ego if you want to. You can be like Beyonce and create a Sasha Fierce, or be like Lady Gaga, who's Stephanie. You know what I mean? Like you can create an alias. I like to create alter egos. I think they're fun. And they're a fun and free way to express yourself. But if that's not what you want and you just want to have your name and you feel that that's great too. So it's something you just kind of fall into. You don't want to force anything. You want it to be real to you. And if it feels authentic to you and you feel like you're really free and creating and expressing yourself in whatever it is that you're doing, then you're obviously in the right space and you're in the right headspace. So if you do create an alter ego, who is that person to you and why did you create them? What's the reasoning behind it? And maybe there's no reason. Maybe you just love expressing yourself and that's your outlet.
Amazing. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. We have a little bit more time left we're left together, so I got a few more questions for you all. This is a big question I think all creative people in music kind of think about. Well, what impact do you feel like commercialism and media has had on your work? And has it been a good thing or a bad thing for you? You know, because we all are influenced by these things. So okay, go ahead, Kay, you got it.
It's been like 50-50 because, sometimes, it's good that they getting our music and they pushing it throughout these different demographics and of the world and like on commercials and it's getting more broad and more open. But sometimes I think they take it and they use it in a negative way. And I don't feel that part of it. They grab our culture and they use our culture and they use it wrong. They think they're using it right, but they use it all the way wrong. And that's the part that I don't like.
Yeah.
What's your take on the journey?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like from an artist standpoint, I feel like it's changed my view on like what I feel like I need to put out, because like only certain songs like are considered radio and whatnot. And so it's just kind of like, you kind of have to be careful, but like, kind of like how Kay was saying, like they can create like this whole negative narrative around, so I'm creating this radio song, and, I'm not really singing, but like I'm going to put it out and they're going to be like, oh, she can't sing. She's, she hit all auto tune or whatnot. So I feel like that's something I'm a little nervous about, coming into this as a new artist, but I haven't necessarily experienced it yet. So.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that. And this is me as an outside person, because when I went to your page and I saw the video of you doing a cover, I was like, oh, she can sing. So I think
she's sing.
Yeah, like you could say, like, yeah, all you got to do is just put music out, and then people are gonna want to know who you are, and then they're gonna be like, oh, she's dope.
Yeah, you definitely gonna have your negative. You're gonna have negative everything, regardless. Beyonce is one of the greatest, and she having that, what I'm saying? So God got negative. So
like, if I read to you the comments that I had on some of my YouTube videos, I have to laugh because some of them are really funny, but then more than the negative comments, there's more people that love the music. So it doesn't even matter. People are always going to say something. Your fans will definitely find you. For sure.
Yeah. And I think the thing about music is, to the point you're making, it's all about connection, and the people that are supposed to connect to that energy you're putting out will find it, and the people who don't, you don't really got to worry about them because it wasn't necessarily for them.
Yeah.
To that point though, like,
thank you, Josh Neal. That's out of control.
Well, actually, there's a question. I have a question, and then there's another question from the audience that I want to ask, but I'm gonna go with the audience question first because it's about them. The question is, what tools do you use for capturing your ideas outside of the studio, and how do you filter and translate them into the studio when you're working? Let's start with Poison Ivy.
Okay. The tools outside of the studio that I use is, obviously photography, collaborations, meeting people via online, or just, whatever it is that you do. Clubhouse, I hear, is really helpful. You can, if you're now, since everything's opening back up, you can go out and connect with people and meet people that are like-minded, just kind of put it out, into the world, what it is that you want to, bring into your hemisphere too, because having like an intention helps as well. And you'll end up meeting somebody close to that, or in the vicinity, or they do it somehow. Sometimes it takes a couple of hops and skips, but you'll get there. And I'll utilize whatever I can, like if there's an opportunity to collaborate with an artist that has, a certain amount of attention on them. It's good to collaborate with people that have already are building or have a following. That's really important. Collaborating with people without one's fine too. But if you're an up and coming artist and you really want to, kind of start building and bubbling, you got to make sure that you're collaborating with people that are, they're working, they're doing some. So that's important too. Just get creative with how, your visuals are going to be, and who, kind of how you want to come across. Sometimes less is more. You don't have to be, all like loud and sparkly, but you can at the same time. You could be like this new artist that's blown up right now, Remy Wolf. She's so freaking dope, and she's just like kitschy and colorful and all that stuff. Or you can be like her, or you can be like Beyonce, or you know what I mean? Like less is more sometimes. So everybody's different. It just has to be authentic to you.
I agree. Less is definitely more. And she kind of touched on all of the points that I probably would say as well.
So, okay, here's a big, like, macro, we are the world kind of question. If you could change one aspect of society, or our society, through your creative work, what would it be? and I'm going to start with Kmack, then go to Journey, and then end with Poison Ivory. Because I feel like all y'all going to have something really, really eloquent.
That is the We Are the World type of question.
I would definitely want to start with. I would start with the violence, man. This violence that's going on with with the kids and what they project into being in their songs. I would, you could be those guys, but you don't have to glorify it so much in this music. So I definitely would like to change it, like stuff like shit that was going on in Chicago right now. I definitely want to change that because it's out of control right now. So I would like to like better songwriting, better lyrics, and just more positive songs. It still could be like dope records and fly. You could get that point across, but it just don't have to be glorified so much because it's just taking a toll on our society and our kids right now. And I definitely would love to see that change.
I agree wholeheartedly. Journey, what about you? How do you want to impact the world with your music?
I would say I would want to change society's perception of women because I feel like rap culture, did their thing with like demeaning women, especially Black women. And I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like we live in a society where men, I don't know, I honestly don't know where this idea even came from, but like, back in the day, like women weren't allowed to do anything. Like we couldn't be independent. Like we had to rely on a man. Like, and I just want to change that entire, perception because I feel like, through my music, I feel like, my lyrics are very empowering. I want women to feel beautiful, like no matter what they look like. I want them to know it's okay to be independent. You don't need a man to survive. And yeah, that's really it.
Let me hold something, Journey, since you want to take care of somebody. Let me hold some money.
Nah, that's not what I mean. I mean, like,
I know.
Yeah, like I just want to be independent. Like I don't need a guy. And I feel like women always feel like that. Like they feel like, we're here to like serve men, and like the whole gender role thing. I always hated it. I hate like washing dishes. I hate doing stuff that I feel like men are like, oh, you're supposed to cook and clean. Okay, what if I don't want to cook or clean? Like what if I don't want to cook? Like I just hate that whole, that whole
I'm not mad at that at all. You want a sandwich? Make your own damn sandwich. I feel that, man. I feel that. Yeah, we're women. We are stepping into our power, and I think that's dope, Journey. That you want to flip the script on the narrative when it comes to the way that Black women have been treated and viewed. I think that's super, super dope.
Thank you.
I agree, man. Like, we got to step into our power too, I think that for me, I definitely want to uplift people because there is, the forces of evil in music as well, and also in the world. And, we're all like reflecting everything. So when people are rapping about like murdering another kid, and their kids, you know what I mean? Like, that's not cool. I don't like, that's messed up. So I definitely, we definitely need more uplifting music for sure. That it's not cool. I want to make people feel good, man. I want to make people feel good. And, I just find music to be weird on. And I know that there's a lot of other unique, weird people like me out there. And hi. So I just want to make music that makes people feel good and makes them forget about their problems for a minute and just be in a cool space. Like, let's just like get out of this real quick. We know what's happening, and let's just like take a break for a moment and be free. You can make music and cry about it too. That helps too, So.
I love it. And unfortunately, we're at time because I want to continue this conversation because I feel like we're just getting to the good part, but we are at the end of our time together. I just want to thank you all for your insights and for everyone joining us today. Kay, Journey, Poison Ivory, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking.
Thank you for having me.
Shout out to Mel.
Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see y'all next time.